The next 10 years will create a new generation of millionaires. And the reason you're watching this video right now isn't luck, it isn't fate. And it definitely isn't because some algorithm randomly showed it to you. You're here because deep down, you're tired of where you are. You're tired of feeling stuck. You're tired of watching other people move forward while you stay in the same place. Tired of knowing you're capable of more but not knowing how to get there. That frustration has been building inside you for years, and maybe, just maybe, you've finally reached the point where you're ready to do something about it. What I'm about to tell you might completely change the way you think about money, success, and your future. If your goal is to achieve financial freedom within the next 2 or 3 years, and become far more capable than the average person around you, that goal is not impossible. In fact, it's more realistic today than it has ever been before. But first, you're going to have to unlearn almost everything you've been taught about making money. The next few minutes could save you years of wasted effort. So pay attention. Don't worry about becoming a millionaire overnight. Don't worry about building some billion-dollar company. Start by being honest about where you are right now. Every morning you wake up thinking about bills. You think about rent or mortgage payments. You think about credit card balances. You think about responsibilities. You think about work. You think about all the things you have to do just to keep life moving forward. Sometimes you want to stop and take a breath, but you realize there is nobody coming to rescue you. Nobody is going to magically solve your problems. Nobody is going to hand you the life you want. That feeling can be painful, but here's the truth. Pain might be the greatest gift you've ever received. Almost every person who dramatically changed their life experienced a moment when they felt completely trapped. A moment when they were tired of making excuses. A moment when they realized that if nothing changed, their future would look exactly like their present. And that realization became the beginning of everything. Because people rarely change when they're comfortable. They change when staying the same becomes more painful than changing. That's when growth begins. That's when excuses die. That's when average people start becoming extraordinary. People constantly ask me, is there still opportunity left? Haven't all the good opportunities already been taken? My answer is always the same. The biggest problem isn't the economy. The biggest problem isn't competition. The biggest problem is that most people are trying to use yesterday's strategy to solve tomorrow's problems. Their body is living in 2026, but their mindset is still stuck in 2006. They keep looking for success, using outdated rules in a completely different world, and that's why they struggle. Here's the truth most people haven't realized yet. The rules of wealth have changed. 20 years ago, wealth was often created through expansion. People built factories, bought real estate, opened physical businesses, benefited from growing markets. But the next decade will look very different. The future belongs to people who know how to leverage technology, attention, information, and systems. The wealthy people of the past often controlled resources. The wealthy people of the future will control coordination. They won't necessarily own everything. They'll know how to connect everything. The biggest opportunity today isn't building a giant corporation. It's becoming a highly leveraged individual, a modern entrepreneur, a one-person business powered by technology. What does that mean? It means one person using AI, automation, and digital tools can now produce results that once required an entire team. A decade ago, you needed employees. Today, you need systems. A decade ago, you needed investors. Today, you need skills. A decade ago, you needed permission. Today, you need execution. I know a young entrepreneur who started with almost nothing. No employees, no office, no investors, just a laptop and a willingness to learn. He used AI tools to create content, automate workflows, and distribute information across multiple platforms. He focused on digital education and online products. During his first month, he barely made a few $100s. Most people would have quit going. By the third month, he was making over $10,000 a month. Today, with a handful of systems and a few computers, his business generates more income than many traditional companies. This isn't some fantasy success story. This is happening right now. AI has dramatically lowered the barriers to entrepreneurship. What once required hundreds of thousands of dollars can now be started with a laptop and an internet connection. That's why ignoring AI today is like ignoring the internet in the early 2000s. The people who learn how to use these tools will gain an advantage. The people who refuse to adapt will fall behind. So how do you actually take advantage of this opportunity? Let me give you a simple 3-step roadmap. Step 1, destroy and rebuild yourself. Before you build a business, you need to rebuild your habits. Most people don't have an income problem, they have a focus problem. Spend hours scrolling social media, they binge watch shows, they waste time arguing online, they consume endless entertainment while complaining about their situation. If you want extraordinary results, you need extraordinary discipline. Eliminate distractions. Protect your attention. Treat your focus like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Think about it this way. If the average person spends 4 productive hours a day working toward meaningful goals, and you spend 12, who do you think will move faster? Over the course of a year, you've effectively compressed multiple years of progress into one. Success isn't always about intelligence. Sometimes it's simply about sustained focus. The person who can stay committed while everyone else gets distracted often wins. Step 2. Find a major trend and align yourself with it. Stop trying to fight reality. Stop trying to force opportunities that don't exist. The easiest way to succeed is to move in the same direction as powerful trends. Right now, artificial intelligence is one of the biggest opportunities on the planet. Another major trend is the aging population and the increasing demand for services that improve quality of life. You don't need to build the next groundbreaking AI model. You don't need to compete with the largest technology companies in the world. Instead, look for practical applications. Help businesses use AI. Help creators become more productive. Professionals save time. Help organizations solve problems more efficiently. The biggest fortunes are often built by people who make powerful tools easier for everyone else to use. During the California gold rush, many of the richest people weren't the miners. They were the people selling the tools. The same principle applies today. Find a narrow problem. Use technology to solve it better than anyone else. Then spend years mastering that solution. This era doesn't reward people who know a little about everything. It rewards people who become exceptionally good at one valuable thing. Step 3. Build assets that work even when you don't. Once you make your first significant money, don't immediately run out and buy expensive cars, luxury watches, or things designed to impress strangers. That's how people stay trapped. Instead, invest in systems and assets. Build automated processes that continue generating value while you sleep. Invest in quality businesses, intellectual property, content libraries, software, or other assets that can compound over time. The goal is simple. Stop trading hours for dollars. As long as your income depends entirely on your time, your growth will always be limited. But when your money, systems, and assets begin working for you, everything changes. That's when wealth starts growing exponentially instead of linearly. Before I finish, I want to tell you something important. Maybe you think you're ordinary. Maybe you don't have wealthy parents. Maybe you didn't go to a prestigious university. Maybe you don't have investors, connections, or a large bank account. None of those things matter as much as you think. In today's world, the greatest advantage isn't money. It isn't status. It isn't even talent. It's your ability to learn quickly, think clearly, and execute consistently. Information has never been more available. Tools have never been more accessible. Opportunity has never been more democratized. The question isn't whether opportunities exist. The question is whether you're willing to prepare yourself for them. Because wealth is not just money. Wealth is the ability to understand how the world works and turn that understanding into value. That's all it is. And if you've made it this far, there's probably a part of you that already knows you're capable of more. A part of you that refuses to settle. A part of you that is tired of living below your potential. Listen to that voice. Feed it. Strengthen it. Because your future will be determined far more by your decisions than by your circumstances. 3 years from now, you'll either look back and be grateful that you started today, or you'll wish you had. The choice is yours. The next decade will create a new generation of millionaires. The only question is whether you'll be one of them.